Next up in our Big Ten preview is the Illinois Fighting Illini, Dalton. And it wasn't too much of a fight for them last year, unfortunately. They had a very successful 2022 season. They went 8-5. They came crashing back down with a 5-7 record in 2023. Over the last 12 years, Dalton, Illinois has had a losing record in 11 of them. So they're gonna have to bounce back this year. Even though they lose Johnny Newton, who we love on this channel, not only as a player, but as a person. We interviewed him. He's an awesome, awesome guy. They still should have a really strong front seven next year. And their run defense, I think, is going to be the biggest strength of this team right now. They are in top 40 grades in run defense and tackling last year. They returned 5 of their 9 front 7 players who played at least 300 snaps. And they added Dennis Briggs Jr. from Florida State as well, the D-tackle from there, to play a major role in their defense as well. So, yes, they lose what should have been a first-round pick in Johnny Newton. And Keith Randolph is a really good D-tackle as well. But they should still have a really good run defense, I think, in 2024. The big question is, can they get anything going offensively? They lost 4 of their top 5 receivers from last year and their top rusher in Reggie Love III. They do bring back Luke Altmaier, who you're going to break down in just a second, but he was only 87th in the country with a 67.6 passing grade last year. So a lot of questions offensively for this Illinois team a little bit. But tell me more about Luke Altmaier, man. He's coming into another year as the starting quarterback for Illinois. What should we know about him heading into 2024?
Yeah, Altmaier's pretty simple, where you have a guy who, if he's kept clean, if Illinois has good pass protection, which they didn't enough last year, right? He was pressured on 38.5% of his dropbacks, a way too high number. When he has pass protection, he performs like a top 40 quarterback, roughly, an above average guy. Like, he can make throws down the field, especially outside the numbers. He made 10 of his 12 big time throws down the sidelines. So, like, he can do some things. He can work the outside. Like, he makes reasonably quick decisions when he is clean. He's not the flashiest guy. He's going to be a pocket passer. He's going to work to the perimeter. The problem is pressure, right? And his pressure grade, a 37.5 pressured passing grade, is outside the top 100 in the country. He takes way too many sacks. A lot of them his own doing, just holding the ball too long. 34 sacks taken in 9 games last season. So you're really talking about a very clear split where if he is protected, he's actually pretty good. Like, he doesn't put the ball in danger. He doesn't throw like a boatload of interceptions. I know against Penn State it was a struggle, but they were not going to score on Penn State regardless, just the way their offensive line was and how that was. But otherwise, like, he's a pretty reasonably safe quarterback to have back there. But your offensive line has to be good, and they just weren't last year, and he folds under the pressure. That's just, there's times even when he can kind of, the old Sam Darnold seeing ghosts thing where, like, if he's getting consistent pressure, then he thinks it's coming and his timing can get all off. Like, it's not good where their offensive line was last year. And I know they even had a couple of them drafted, but it mostly do their work in the run game, man. Like, their pass protection, the combination of bad pass protection and Luke Altmaier is not good. Now, luckily, we have a guy we can spotlight. I believe their new left tackle from New Mexico, a transfer in from New Mexico. Not a lot of things went right for the Lobos last year, but J.C. Davis is an absolute monster, man. Finished 4th among all FBS tackles in overall grade behind Talisi Fuaga, first-round pick, Joe Alt, first-round pick, and Javon Foster, 4th-round pick, who probably could have gone higher than that. So you're talking about, okay, if I'm going to reset this pass protection and even this run game, J.C. Davis is a guy I want in there. And you know what? You talk about protecting Altmaier, get the run game going, get play action going, all of that stuff. It always starts up front. For them to get a guy like J.C. Davis in here is a big, big plus.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of him, man. I think it's a really underrated addition that Illinois made in the transfer portal. Defensively, though, I'm going to highlight a guy in the secondary. I know we talked about how good the D-line could be even without Johnny Newton, but I'm going to go with the secondary for this one with Miles Scott, their safety. Interesting kind of development with him, man. Came to Illinois as a wide receiver, played his first 2 years at wide receiver for Illinois, moved to safety this past season. You can see the background as a receiver when he gets the ball in his hands. He returned both of his interceptions for a touchdown this past year. So he's really, really good with the ball in his hands. Elite athlete, 97th percentile in our game athleticism score metric as well. Still clearly getting acclimated to playing defense now. Was out of position a number of times in 2023. But he's got a high ceiling, man, and could be in store for an even better 2024 campaign with more experience on defense. So converted wide receiver, now a safety, returned both of his interceptions for a touchdown, has some really interesting plays in coverage as well. Just kind of getting more used to playing defense right now. But I'm a big fan of Miles Scott, man, as the new star player for Illinois defensively with Johnny Newton now in the NFL. All right, Dalton. So I mentioned before how Illinois, 11 of their last 12 years have been losing seasons for them. Do they have another winning season in them, or do you think this will be another losing campaign for the Fighting Illini in 2024?
I think it's borderline. I think you're going to be talking right about that borderline 6-6 range of a bowl game, right? And I think that the concern I would have is just what we have left here offensively, right? They lost, guys like Isaiah Williams and Tip Ryman and just don't have a lot of weaponry, right? Like last year, they were winning a lot on defense when they were winning, and even that was with Johnny Newton playing hurt, right? He had the bad foot, but now you lose a guy like that in Newton. Maybe your defense takes a little bit of a hit. Where are the points coming from, right? Is Altmaier going to be healthy? Is he going to be better protected with Davis up front? Like, what is the formula here for Illinois to put up points, right? Like, and I know obviously it's going to be, Brett Bielema's teams always run the ball and play defense, but I need a little more than that. And I certainly need better offensive line play. It starts with Davis getting in there and playing as well as he did last year. And then the rest of that unit, they just were not good enough up front last year to consistently put up points. They get better on the offensive line, you could be talking about 6-6, maybe even a 7-5 sort of deal. If they don't, and Altmaier continues to struggle under pressure, you're going to see a lot of the same struggles you've seen recently.
I think that's exactly what it is, man. I think their defense should keep them in some games this year, but if they want to find any sort of success and get better, they'll need Altmaier and the new starters and the skill position players to step up and do that for them. So, I think 6-6 is around what I'd hope for as an Illinois fan, but I could see them missing a bowl game. I could also see them winning more than 6 games as well if they, if like I said, the pass protection really does get better. But that's what we got for Illinois for their 2024 season preview. Again, we're doing this for every single one of these 70 Power 5 teams heading into 2024. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a single one of them.